When economic turbulence strikes, most people instinctively tighten their belts, cut expenses, and brace for uncertainty. But the world's wealthiest individuals often see things differently. To them, a crisis is not just a time for caution, it's a rare window of opportunity. They don't simply survive downturns, they find ways to thrive, using strategies honed over decades. Let's explore 3 true stories that show how the wealthy spot and seize opportunities during crises, illuminating the mindsets and methods that set them apart. In the early months of 2020, as the COVID-19 pandemic swept across the globe, financial markets plunged into chaos. Panic selling gripped Wall Street, and asset prices tumbled. While many investors rushed to sell their holdings and preserve cash, private equity giant Blackstone took a different approach. With billions in cash reserves ready, Blackstone's leaders saw the downturn not as a disaster, but as a moment to acquire valuable assets at a fraction of their pre-crisis worth. They moved quickly, investing in logistics centers and e-commerce infrastructure, sectors poised for explosive growth as the world shifted to online shopping. Their ability to deploy capital in the heart of the storm was no accident. By maintaining substantial liquidity even during boom times, Blackstone could act swiftly when opportunity knocked. As markets recovered and e-commerce boomed, those crisis investments paid off handsomely, turning uncertainty into outsized returns. Another striking example comes from the world of real estate during the same pandemic. As economic activity ground to a halt, commercial real estate in major cities faced a reckoning. Office towers emptied, hotels sat vacant, and many property owners found themselves under pressure to sell. This downturn, however, was not lost on Sam Zell, a billionaire known for his uncanny ability to spot value where others see only risk. With his team at Equity Group Investments, Zell began quietly buying distressed properties, office buildings, hotels, and multifamily units at steep discounts. He understood that while the immediate outlook was grim, prime real estate in key locations would eventually rebound. Zell's diversified approach, built over decades, helped him weather sector-specific shocks. By spreading risk across different asset types and maintaining a long-term perspective, he was able to capture opportunities that others missed. When occupancy rates began to climb again in 2021 and 2022, Zell's investments surged in value, once again demonstrating the power of patience, diversification, and decisive action in a crisis. Perhaps the most dramatic story of crisis opportunity comes from the aftermath of the 2008 financial crash. As credit markets froze and stock prices collapsed, Warren Buffett, the legendary chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, stepped into the breach. In September 2008, while fear dominated headlines and even the most seasoned investors hesitated, Buffett struck a deal with Goldman Sachs. He agreed to inject $5 billion into the struggling investment bank in exchange for preferred shares with a 10% dividend and warrants to buy common stock at a set price. Buffett's investment not only shored up confidence in Goldman Sachs, but also positioned him to reap extraordinary rewards when markets eventually stabilized. By 2011, the deal had netted Berkshire Hathaway billions in profits. Buffett's move was rooted in principles he has long championed: keep cash reserves for moments of panic, look beyond short-term volatility, and invest in fundamentally strong companies when others are fearful. These stories reveal a pattern. The wealthy prepare for crises by maintaining liquidity and flexibility, allowing them to act when others are paralyzed by uncertainty. They diversify across asset classes, reducing their exposure to any single sector's downturn. And perhaps most importantly, they train themselves to recognize that every crisis brings undervalued opportunities if you have the vision and resources to seize them. In today's uncertain world, these lessons have never been more relevant. The difference between surviving a crisis and thriving through one often comes down to preparation, perspective, and the courage to act when opportunity hides behind fear.